She was a queen who was whipped in front of her subjects like a slave. She was a mother forced to watch her daughters being defiled. But those who did this made a mistake. They thought they had broken a woman, but in fact, they had awakened a force of nature. Welcome to the channel Fateful Women of the Ages. Here we examine and discuss the fates of women whose willpower and determination had an indelible, truly fateful impact on history. The year is 60 AD, the misty lands of Britain, which the Romans called the edge of the world. Boudicca was born into a noble family of the Iceni tribe, a people of warriors and druids, for whom a female ruler was not an anomaly, but an ancient tradition. Legend has it that, on the night of her birth, a comet streaked across the sky, and the druids predicted that this girl would bring either salvation or destruction to her people. The Iceni tribe was unique. Here, on the edge of the known world, Celtic women could own land. They could rule. They could fight alongside men. Boudicca was born in one of the last places on Earth where being a woman did not mean being powerless. While in Rome wives were the property of their husbands, and in Athens women could not leave the house unaccompanied, Celtic girls learned to ride war horses and throw spears. Rome called them barbarians. But who were the real barbarians? Those who locked their wives in their homes, or those who allowed them to be free? The Roman historian Cassius Dio left us a portrait of her. Tall, taller than most men. Her hair was fiery red, falling to her hips like a cloak of flame. Her eyes were piercing, her voice sharp and commanding. Around her neck was a golden torque, a symbol of Celtic royal power. Her body bore battle scars, which she did not hide. Boudicca grew up watching her people balance between two worlds. On one side were the ancient traditions of the Druids, the magic of the forests, and freedom. On the other was the looming shadow of Rome, with its roads, its gold, and its relentless thirst for conquest. She learned the most important thing. In a man's world, a woman must be more cunning, more decisive, more ruthless, or disappear. In her youth, she married Prasutag, king of the Iceni. It was a love match, rare for that era. He saw her as his equal. They ruled together. And then their fragile happiness was shattered. Emperor Claudius' legions invaded Britain. Prasutagus did what seemed wise. He signed a treaty. He became an ally and friend of the Roman people. The Iceni would retain their independence, their lands, and their customs. Rome would receive tribute and loyalty. Naivety. Rome did not form alliances. Rome granted respite before conquest. For 20 years, they lived under this illusion of peace. Boudicca gave birth to daughters and raised them to be free. She taught them what she had been taught: to be strong, to be proud, to never bow their heads. And then Prasutag died. As he lay dying, he tried to save his kingdom in the only way he could. He bequeathed half of his lands to the Roman Emperor Nero and the other half to his daughters and Boudicca. It was a naive attempt to buy security for his family. Rome responded as an empire would. Roman officials came to take everything. The lands of the Iceni were declared the property of the emperor. The nobility were turned into debtors, and when Queen Boudicca, the rightful ruler, dared to protest, she was publicly flogged like a slave. And her daughters, princesses of royal blood, were raped by Roman soldiers. Imagine this moment. You are a queen, you are a mother. You have spent your entire life protecting your people, seeking compromises, playing by the enemy's rules. And now, everything is falling apart. Your dignity has been trampled on. Your daughters are broken. Your people are enslaved. What would you choose? To resign yourself and live out your life in humiliation, or to raise a rebellion knowing that there is no turning back? Boudicca chose fire. Boudicca accomplishes what no other Celtic leader has been able to do. She unites the tribes, not through diplomacy, but through fury. She travels around the villages in a war chariot, her red hair blowing in the wind. She speaks of dishonor, of trampled laws, of how the Romans call them barbarians, yet commit atrocities that would make even wild beasts shudder. 100,000 warriors gather under her banners. Men and women, old men and young men, those who have lost everything, and she struck. The first strike was against the city of Camulodunum, modern-day Colchester, the capital of Roman Britain. Boudicca took it by storm in 2 days. The temple of Emperor Claudius, a symbol of Roman rule, was burned to the ground. The inhabitants were killed. There was no mercy. Then came the turn of Londinium, the future London. At that time, it was a small trading town. Roman merchants, slave traders, tax collectors. London was burned to the ground. Archaeologists still find layers of red burnt clay, traces of Boudicca. Verulamium was the third city. It suffered the same fate. Rome lost control of Britain. Emperor Nero seriously considered withdrawing all legions from the island. A woman who was whipped like a slave brought the greatest empire in history to its knees. But what happens to a person when revenge becomes their only reason for living? Boudicca was victorious. But it also killed thousands of innocent people. Among those who died in Londinium were British slaves, women, and children. Revenge does not discriminate. It consumes everything. Does violence cure violence, or does it only breed more violence? The governor of Britain, Gaius Suetonius Paulinus, has returned from a campaign in the west of the island. A seasoned commander who suppressed the rebellions in the Atlas Mountains, a cool-headed strategist. He chose the battlefield himself, a narrow gorge, the forest behind the legions. Ahead of him was Boudicca's horde, 10 times his number. Roman discipline against Celtic fury, order against chaos. The short gladius sword, designed for slaughter in confined spaces, against long swords that required space. The legions stood, shield to shield, an impenetrable wall, and when the Britons ran out of steam, the Romans advanced. Methodically, mercilessly, the Britons fled, but behind them stood carts with their families, wives, children, and elderly people whom they had brought along to witness the triumph. These carts became a trap. 80,000 Britons died in that battle. The Romans lost 400 men. And Boudicca, there are 2 versions. The Roman historian Tacitus writes that she poisoned herself so as not to be taken prisoner. Another version is that she died of her wounds or illness shortly after the battle. But both versions agree on one thing. She did not allow Rome to take her alive. She did not give them the triumph of parading her through the streets in chains as a trophy. In the end, she remained free. Rome won. Britain remained a province of the empire for another 350 years. Boudicca's rebellion was crushed, her people scattered, her cities wiped out. But something had changed. After Boudicca, Rome never again treated Britain as easy prey. The new governor received orders, no atrocities, no humiliation of the local nobility. Diplomacy, not terror. Today, the monument to Boudicca stands in the heart of London, opposite Parliament. Boudicca is depicted on a chariot with her daughters, her spear raised toward the sky. The city she burned down remembers her as a symbol of resistance. In every century when women fought for rights, freedom, and dignity, the name of Boudicca resurfaced. Suffragettes named their daughters after her. During World War II, her image was used in propaganda promoting resistance. It became more than a story. It became an idea. Even the most broken can be lifted up. Even the weakest can be armed. Even the most desperate have the power to destroy the world that destroyed them. Now I want to ask you something. Could Boudicca have acted differently? Could she have forgiven? Could she have accepted her fate? Was there an alternative to rebellion, or did the humiliation she suffered leave her no choice? Write your thoughts in the comments. Was Boudicca a heroine who defended the dignity of her people, or was she a tragic figure who chose destruction over healing? There is no right answer. There is only your truth. Leave your opinion in the comments and click subscribe so you don't miss the next stories of the women who changed the world. Watch our other videos. Thank you for being with me. See you soon.